Hi, everybody. Oh my goodness. I don't know who's here. This just happened. I'm shocked. Like, I opened YouTube, I saw someone else was live streaming Bryan Kohberger guilty, and I was like, what in the world is going on? And I looked it up, and it's true. He accepted a plea deal, you guys. This literally just happened. I'm going to share. I haven't read the story yet, so I'm in as much shock as all of you. I can't believe it. I'm I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but like I'm like shaking right now. I can't believe it. So I'm going to share my screen, and this is not clickbait. Like, I am not a clickbait person like at all. And here it is. I mean, it's all over if you look it up right now. Hello everybody. Thank you so much for being here at the last second. I'm absolutely shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. This literally just happened. And why don't we go through this first article that, actually, here, let me show you. Once you open Google and you type in Bryan Kohberger, it's all over. Like, it happened half an hour, 40 minutes ago. He accepts a plea deal in the Idaho student murders case. I I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Yep. Yeah, I am so shocked. I am so like when I opened YouTube and I saw there was a journalist and it had a picture of Bryan Kohberger and it said that this journalist was live and it said in big red letters guilty. I was like, this has to be clickbait, right? So, I asked ChatGPT, and even ChatGPT had no idea. ChatGPT was like, no, 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 he has not pled guilty. And then I did a Google search. So why don't we pick an article? And I just clicked on the first one. Why don't we pick this one? The ABC News one. Okay. So let's go through it. Let's talk about it. I'm also relieved for the families. Lisa also just found out. I'm in absolute shock. I'm in absolute shock. I do want to say before we begin, you guys, I still want to encourage all of you, instead of super chats and super stickers, to please to the I'm losing my words, you guys. I'm losing my words. The National Domestic Violence Hotline. I don't have the information pulled up here. If someone has access to it from one of my old posts, if you could drop it in the chat. But same thing here. Instead of super chats and super stickers, please donate to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Steve, we were supposed to watch the trial together. I know. I can't believe it. But you know what? It must be such a relief for the family to not have to go through all of that. And I wonder if this means that none of us are going to see the evidence, right? Because it won't be presented. Lisa says they must have the goods on him and he knew it. Yep. You guys can hear me, right? Yeah, the circle around my face is going. Yeah, Penelope, we on my other channel, I have another channel called Revealing the Crime, and on that channel, we were gearing up to go through the trial together. The jury selection was supposed to be a month from now, July 31st. The trial was supposed to start August 11th. I know. Look who's here. Hi, Resting Dollface. Thank you, Lizzie. I'm just so like flustered right now that I could also be talking into the void and nobody would know. I can't believe it. Hi, an old geezer. Hi, the awesome Journey Live. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm so shocked. Yes, Peekaboo, absolutely. This is best for the family. They don't have to be put through the trial. They don't have to hear all that evidence. I'm sure, Jen J, you're right. The families do deserve answers, and I'm sure there's going to be things communicated to them. I would hope so. So yeah. Oh, Lisa's saying the families are not happy. Oh, so he avoided the death penalty by doing this. Okay. Wow. Thank you, Lizzie. Liz, hit the like button. Yep. Okay, so let's go through the article really quick. So this one was from ABC News. It was just published well, this is 3:28 p.m. So that's like 15 minutes ago for me. I don't know. Okay, so it says Bryan Kohberger to plead guilty on all counts. Bryan Kohberger has agreed to plead guilty to all counts in the killings of 4 University of Idaho students, sparing him from the death penalty, according to a letter sent to victims' family members. Kohberger, who was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary in connection with the 2022 killings of Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Xana's boyfriend, Ethan Chafin, will be sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences on the murder counts and the maximum penalty of 10 years on the burglary count. See, what's the burglary count? What did he take? What did he take? I know. I know. Holy Toledo. That's right, Cindy. That's right. Yep. What a monster. Yeah, I know, hide out loud. I am shocked. I am shocked. Puro, I hope I pronounced your name right, says, let's hope the deal includes disclosure. I hope so. I mean, this is new here. Burglary count. What burglary count? Life without parole can be worse. I mean, he'll never leave jail. 4 consecutive life sentences. Yep, I hope so too, Resting Dollface. I hope they get broken, maybe that's it, but did he take something? Like, you know how serial killers, they take Resting Dollface, you and I are on the same wavelength. Did he take trophies? What did he take? Yeah. I'm streaming Peekaboo on both channels. Yes, I am. I was like, if I'm not gonna get you on one, I'm gonna get you on the other. So I do have another channel revealing the crime, so I'm streaming on both. I've never done that before, so, yeah. Yeah, DP says, "First Richard Allen of the Delphi murders, now this idiot. He'll never see the light of day." Yeah, he won't get out. Yep, it would have to be that he took something. Um, don't plea deals have conditions, full disclosure. You guys, I wonder if there's gonna be a new Dateline episode this week to talk about it. Like, I can't imagine that, um there won't be updates on this, and hopefully Dateline or whatever official journalist will have more information. That's great. Hide Out Loud sound. Hide Out Loud says, "This is great customer service." Yeah, I'm making sure if you don't see me on revealing the narc, you see me on revealing the crime. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you only see half the chat. Oh, so that's what happens when I stream on both. Oh, apologies for that. I'll try to highlight as many comments as I can so people don't get lost. Okay, let's continue with the article. It says he will waive all right to appeal, the agreement said. Prosecutors anticipate sentencing to take place in late July as long as Kohberger enters the guilty plea as expected at a change of plea hearing that's scheduled for Wednesday, according to the letter received by the family of one of the victims. Sounds like we might have something to stream on Wednesday, doesn't it? I'm going to try to figure out what time that is. Pamela says, "Could burglary be just breaking into the house?" It could be, um, it could be. I don't know. I feel like maybe he took something, um, like a trophy. Yeah. Julie says, "Does this mean he won't have to tell the families why he did it?" I'm assuming there's gonna be some information that's provided to the family. I hope so. Lisa says, "I think they went for this because when the judge denied using a third-party culprit and the continuance was denied, Ann Taylor knew it was hopeless." Yeah. Yeah, and we just, on my Revealing the Crime channel, we just went through that. So, his professors must be reeling. Yeah. Steve thinks that it must have been a trophy. Poirot says it must be bittersweet for the families. They avoid the trials, that's true. And I mean, can you imagine for the families to just sit there and I mean, trials are not they're not for the faint of heart, right? They're going to go into all the grisly details of what happened. Um, and at least there's no right to appeal, which means the family is not waiting, every 5 years. Oh, is he gonna file for an appeal? So yeah. Pamela says there's no answer to why. I mean, it was senseless. It was senseless. Yep. He studied this in college. Yep. He did. He was in graduate school for it. He will never be released, Truffle says. Yep. Let's continue with the article. It says prosecutors anticipate. Oh, wait, I read that already. Okay, the plea comes just 4 weeks before the trial was set to begin. Jury selection was set to start on August 4. Oh, I got that date. I thought it was July 31st. Maybe they changed it. And oh yeah, because the trial was supposed to start August 11, so it looks like it was shifted a week out to August 18. It says prosecutors said in the letter to families that the state was approached last week by Kohberger's defense team asking to be presented with an offer last week, which was when wait, it was 2 weeks ago that they had that hearing, right, everybody? And so last week, I think you're right, Lisa, they realized that this is it, like, it's gonna be hard not to find him guilty, allegedly. It says prosecutors said they then met with family members last week, weighed the right path forward, and made a formal offer to Kohberger. This resolution is our sincere attempt to seek justice for your family, prosecutors wrote in the letter. This agreement ensures that the defendant will be convicted, will spend the rest of his life in prison, and will not be able to put you and the other families through the uncertainty of decades of post conviction appeals. Your viewpoints weighed heavily in our decision making process, and we hope that you may come to appreciate why we believe this resolution is in the best interest of justice. Yikes. Yeah, they tried to get a third party culprit. You remember that DoorDash driver, how freaked out she was that she might have been called? Um, yeah, DP says, funny how it works when the death penalty is on the table. All of a sudden, they want to fess up. And if I'm not mistaken, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, Idaho has the firing squad as their execution method. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. I don't remember where I heard that. Cindy says, does this mean they go straight to sentencing? I think he's already sentenced. It said here he has, where did it say it? Will be sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences on the murder counts and the maximum penalty of 10 years on the burglary count. Wow. Julie says, I hope the families get to know why, just so they are not trying to work it all out. What a waste. I know. What a waste of so many lives, so much potential between those 4. And also let's not forget the 2 other people that were in the house that are traumatized also, this affected, you know, there's the victims that lost their lives, and then there's the victims that knew all of them and lost a friend or a sister or a brother or a family member. Yeah. Okay, Kat says that yes, Idaho has the firing squad. DP also says they have the firing squad. Lisa says the prosecution has the evidence. They saw it in the sharing of discovery, and maybe that's why that defense attorney was like nervous, and she kept saying we need a continuance. We haven't had a chance to see all this evidence, and we need to be able to find out more about Bryan Kohberger's life because, um, this is a death sentencing trial. Kat says plea will be entered July 2nd. The sentence will be imposed at another hearing. Yep. Hi, Carol. Hi, everybody. Peekaboo says there will be a formal sentencing. This is the plea deal the judge has to approve. Okay, thank you, Peekaboo. So it looks like July 2nd. So that's 2 days from now, right? Am I right? Yeah, 2 days from now. I thought July 4th was Thursday. Is it Friday? Um, Lizzie's asking, did he know the victims? So he did not know the victims, but there's a lot of cell phone evidence that showed that he would continuously, well, cell phone, what is it called? Ping evidence. Why am I not? Cell phone tower evidence. I'm sorry. That he would drive by that house a lot, um, where they lived. Actually, not all of them lived there, but they think the main target was Maddie. And when he went after Maddie, her best friend, Kaylee, was sleeping in bed next to her, and he didn't expect that. Um, I think Maddie was the main target, but he got shocked and ended up, killing Kaylee as well, and then at some point, Xana Kernodle walked into the hallway and saw him, and she ran into her bedroom where her boyfriend was. He attacked her, and then he also, killed him, the boyfriend. And they say in the Dateline episode, they said that he had a lot of hatred for Ethan Chafin because he I think they said, if I'm not mistaken, the words they used was he carved something, um, on Ethan Chafin. And so they have that cell tower evidence, and then they also have his, like, search history and things like that, and he had a lot of, pictures and social media accounts that he would follow of women. I mean, I that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but they think that he was stalking Maddie, I believe. Um, yeah. Steve says he probably got the sentence as the deal. Yeah, the date of sentencing will be set in the near future. I think they're saying, Lisa, July 2nd. Um, and Carol just confirmed. I know, Carol. I turned on YouTube and I saw this other person that was live, and it was Bryan Kohberger's picture and guilty. And I was like, "Is this clickbait?" So I asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT didn't even know yet. So then I did a Google search, and there it is. Yeah. Thank you, Peekaboo. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, Joy of my hearts. Yeah. Thank you, Coral Sand. Thanks everyone for being here. So I guess what Peekaboo was saying, TM, is that this is what they offered him, and I guess the judge needs to accept um, accept it. I think that's what Peekaboo said. Carol says the others are collateral damage. Yeah. Kelly says he was a stalker who tried to commit the perfect crime. Yep. And he dropped his knife sheath. And thanks to genetic genealogy and DNA that was found on the knife sheath, it led to Bryan Kohberger. Kat says, I hope he has to give a full account of what he did at sentencing. That's interesting. I wonder if that's what happened. So I have to tell you, I've never really watched trials. I usually just watch um, Dateline in 2020, where they kind of gloss over all of that stuff, right? So this will be an interesting watch, and I'll try to schedule live stream so we can experience it all together. Yep, he panicked, saw witnesses, and took them all out. Yeah, yeah. He didn't. So as he was leaving, though, the fifth roommate or the fifth person that saw him, because not all of them were roommates. Like, I think Kaylee didn't live in the house but was spending the night with Maddie. I think Ethan maybe didn't live in the house but was with his girlfriend. And the fifth person that saw him was a woman named Dylan. And Dylan ran to her bedroom and locked the door, and he never went after her. He saw her, but he never went after her. So, yeah. DP says another narcissist who thinks he's smarter than he really is. He proved nothing and destroyed more than just 4 people. Yep, and I don't know if he's a narcissist. He's definitely cluster B. He would argue with his professors. He was in his first semester of grad school, so and he's arguing with PhD level people who have been teaching for decades, right? So he majorly had ego issues. Yeah, for sure. Jilly says how sad he had no problems with killing 4 people, but cries like a baby at the thought of facing death. Disgusting. Yeah, I know. I know. And actually, Jilly, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the things I've been researching, according to that Dateline episode, when they looked at his search history, Bryan Kohberger's search history on his phone, one of the professors that he argued with that taught at Washington State University, which I think that was the name of the school, he looked up one of her published papers, and that published paper was about Ted Bundy and, I forget the word that it was, but how serial killers basically dehumanize their victims. So he literally looked up that article very soon, very close to the murders. Cindy, he was just obsessed with her. I don't think they even ever ran into each other, they say. Yeah. The search history did him in, plus his Amazon history. Yep. And the DNA. The DNA. How could his knife, how could DNA match, you know? I mean, they find him through genetic genealogy, but then they test the DNA against the DNA that was on the knife sheath. So, unless they were gonna say someone stole his knife. Yeah, and I remember seeing something about how there were, um there were thoughts into investigating because he was from Pennsylvania, that they were gonna look into cold cases or murders that had happened there and see if he was involved. Like, this man was, either a repeat offender or he was going to be, according to that Dateline episode, and this is why the defense was so upset with the Dateline episode, because there was so information that came out there, um, and he was already searching for a new knife and knife sheath. He was gonna buy it again on Amazon. They have that history there, and he was watching Ted Bundy documentaries, during the holiday season when he was at his parents' house, and then he took a selfie wearing a black sweater with the hoodie on, mimicking an image of Ted Bundy. I mean, he yeah, I don't know. Katza says Brian Entin from News Nation is reporting in it. Peekaboo says sentencing later in July. Yeah, we really need to see it together, Steve. Oh, Lisa, happy birthday to your sister and happy birthday to you tomorrow. Carol says genetic genealogy was used in identifying the Golden Gate, a serial killer, and a killer that wasn't caught until 16 years later in Sweden. I kid you not, Carol. So I've always been interested in genetic genealogy. And I was watching the Dateline episode with my mom, and I was telling her how much I love genetic genealogy. And the person they were interviewing on that Dateline episode was Cece Moore. And I was telling my mom, she's such an amazing woman. Like, look at what she's done. And my mom was like, well, if you love to do, like, if you're so interested in it, why don't you just figure out how you can do it? So I'm currently taking courses to get a certificate in it. And I feel like since I've done that, practically every, like, Dateline 48 Hours 2020 episode I'm watching uses genetic genealogy. It's is literally the crime solving technique of the future. Like, truly, I think it is. Hideout Loud says he will not do well in prison. His personality does not make the cut. Yeah. Oh, Kat says the Gonsalves family released a statement. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Lisa says, "I don't think he's a narcissist, just an evil person." I think, I always get confused between sociopathy and psychopathy, but I think he's one of those. He's definitely cluster B, in my opinion. So, yeah. Andrea says, "It if remains the case that the roommate's behavior was suspicious, but we'll never know." We'll see what happens. Okay, Carol says Ted Bundy was classed as a psychopath. Yeah. Oh, it was found under one of the victims, Lisa says. Yes, Kelly, they did say that he was a heroin addict and he had lost like 100 pounds or something like that. And he it was around that time that I think he started school. So um he was like a whole new person, they say. There is that book coming out too. I wonder if so I'm doing that book club of the rules, but maybe for this channel or maybe from my Revealing the Crime channel, we maybe we can do a book club of that book that's supposed to come out. It's DP, it's Revealing the Crime. Let me see if I can type it in here. There we go. Um an old geezer says, definitely he had even the judge praising him. Oh, for Ted Bundy, an old geezer. Hi, Kat. Oh my gosh. Kat, I haven't even had a chance to watch that video you sent me. And then this news breaks. Like, I was turning on YouTube to watch that video you sent me, and I saw that someone was live and it had Brian Kohberger's face and guilty. And so here we are. It's wild. Um, you were fighting with Amazon. I hope things worked out, Lisa. I know, Kat says it's so interesting. It's absolutely so there's so much you can do with it. An old geezer says, "How does anyone think they can get away with all these DNA and forensics they have?" See, that the thing with genetic genealogy, though, what they always try to come back with is probable cause. Like, you know, um, usually I forget exactly what the argument is, but basically you're going on a fishing expedition when you do genetic genealogy. You don't have any you only go to it when you don't have a clear suspect. You go to it when you have no idea who did it, and that helps narrow it down. And the defense usually fights it, and it seems that the defense usually loses the argument. Um, he avoids the death penalty by taking the plea deal, Zephyr says. Carol says a lot of cold case units are going through genetic testing. It is now technology that has caught up. It's amazing. It's amazing. And when I signed up to do the genetic genealogy course, I was talking to, because it's a trade school, so I was talking to the owner of it, and I was asking her, what kind of career aspect, like what is there out there? And she was saying that one of her students had was working like a contractor type position with the United States government because there are apparently 200,000 unmarked military graves in the United States. So they're trying to bring those families together. And it's just like, wow, to be able to do that for those families, and 200,000, that's so many. That's so many. Yeah. Angela says, "My daughter was a grad student when this happened. Her dad and I went over to fortify every entrance into her apartment." Wow, Angela. Wow. Wow. Peekaboo says, "Yes, book club." And actually, Angela, the reason that I think the FBI ended up approving doing the genetic genealogy was exactly that this was someone who posed a danger to society. Like they needed to, it was urgent. Kelly says that my husband wonders if his father was complicit. It seems like, um, and peekaboo, yes, when I typed it in, it it showed up on both channels. Um, I remember that the family, they were like whispering or something to each other, allegedly. I think in the Dateline episode, this is what they were saying, that there were conversations happening. Um, did he do it? Could he have done it? Like there was his family was, I don't know. You wouldn't think that of your family member, right? Unless you get really weird vibes from them. Carol says, this isn't a reflection of an investigation performed by the investigators. The good ones save the evidence. Okay, a lot of people love the book club. Andrea says he managed to get out of his heroin addiction and get into his studies. So many lives ruined, including his own. Yeah. Julie says DNA is the best breakthrough the world has had. How are his family coping with it all? I can't imagine being his family. What a nightmare. Julie, the other day when we were going through that hearing, when we were watching the hearing, the wild thing was there weren't that many people seated behind the prosecution, but there were a lot of people behind the defense. And one wonders, was that his family there to support? So Jonana says, I always thought he had guilty all over his face when he was pulled over. Yep. YouTube user says it is reported the families of the victims were not consulted and not happy. That, so I don't know if that's true. According to this article, it says they said in a letter to the families. Okay, so they didn't ask them, they told them. The prosecutors said in the letter to the families that the state was approached. Yeah. And they met with them last week. Wow. Wow. Kat says, will there be any information so we know what happened, how he did it? I hope so. I hope things start coming out now. Kat says my family was part of a DNA project with the Department of Defense. How interesting, Kat says. M. Smith, thank God the enormous expense of a drawn out trial can be avoided and justice is not delayed. I really feel, it must be heartbreaking on the families, but I think maybe in 10 years' time, they might look back on it and think, maybe it would have been so difficult to go through the trial and hear all of the gruesome details and have people come to the stand you know, to defend him. And also, there's a lot of victim blaming that happens usually in these types of trials, right? Yeah. Carol says, and it was used to catch Ohio and Texas cereal. I'm not going to read that word just in case. Lisa says, John Ramsey was talking about they were using the 23andMe database to find the killer. Did they find anything for that, Lisa? I don't think I've heard anything about that. Katza says Department of Defense used DNA to ID my great uncle who was Oh wow, Kat says. Well, I'm sorry for your loss and for your great uncle who fought in Vietnam, and I'm glad that there's resolution to that. Wow. Steve says the rules was a book, a good subject to discuss. Yeah, my goal in going through the rules is trying to figure out like which one of these did Megan use. So that's my goal with that one. The real Gigi says his sister even says she thought he might have done it. Yes, yes, exactly. Yay, book club, joy of my heart says. Carol says Maryland and Montana passed legislation for genetic genealogy to be used in investigations. I love it. Oh, thank you. Thank you, JB. I try. I try. Luckily, my chats don't get too big, so I'm able to stay caught up. Um, yeah. I wonder if he will write a book. I mean, OJ did. Sorry, that wasn't really funny. OJ was incredibly arrogant and yeah, I wouldn't even want to know the inner workings of this guy's mind. Yep, Del Plummer, the world gets sicker every day. Yep. Lisa says it's the prosecution's discretion to offer this deal. Yep. Carol says Green River case prosecution asked all the families if they were okay with a plea deal if they could find bodies in exchange for life in prison. How awful. Um, YouTube user says that the Consalves, I always wonder if I'm pronouncing it correctly because that's how they pronounce it in the the news when I watch it, but it says it's true. We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected. Wow. Wow. Okay, why don't I see if I can find something about that? Um, let me see. Sorry if my typing is too loud. Okay, here we go. Let me do this one. No, this one. No, this one. No. Which one is it? Not this one. Not this one. Sorry. Here we go. This one, the last one, of course. Okay, so it says the family reacts. Kaylee was 21. Wow. It says, following Bryan Kohberger's acceptance of a plea deal, the family of one of the victims has reacted angrily. News Nation sources can confirm the prosecution has proposed dropping the death penalty in exchange for Kohberger pleading guilty to committing the murders and to a burglary charge. Among the four victims was Kaylee Consalves, who was 21. That's so sad. In a statement on Facebook minutes after news broke of the deal, the Consalves family page wrote, "It's true. We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time." Yeah, just as you said, YouTube user. That's exactly what they said. Wow. Let's see. Is there anything else here? No other information really here. Dude, Idaho's having a rough week. Um, Hideout Loud said, I thought his mother was giving him ill advice. Yeah, I don't know. And YouTube user completed what the their family page said. Lisa says a person confessed on his deathbed. So was it a real confession? We'll never know. Yeah, I don't know. Um, so I think so I'm trying to highlight because I'm going live on 2 channels, I think some people can see the comments on one channel and not the other. So I'm trying to highlight everyone's and hopefully it's a cohesive conversation. So apologies, I didn't know that that's what would happen if I stream on both. Kat says if the defense had everything, why did they offer him a plea deal? I mean, everything is a risk assessment, right? So they looked at, how would they the one thing they kept hammering on about, the defense kept hammering on about is, "We'll never find an impartial jury. There's so much information about this." You know, so they probably weighed that and thought he wouldn't get a fair trial. Yeah, I wonder too, Carol. Julie says, "My heart hurts so bad for the victims' families. Yeah, how can they ever get past a loss this huge?" I know, and to think the 2 best friends, dude, I can't. It's just heartbreaking. Yeah. The real Gigi says, "I'm wondering what information that the Gonsalves family got in the beginning. The father said he didn't even have to go upstairs." I'm not sure what you what's meant by that he didn't have to go upstairs, the real Gigi. So, yeah. Money, Lisa says to Kat. Yeah. Carol says, "It all depends what the what is the evidence and what kind of verdict would be." Yeah. Oh, am I Hyde Out Loud? I actually saw it on someone else's channel. I mean, it's serendipitous. A cat who's in our chat right now sent me a YouTube video about this case, about Dylan, the other person in the home at the time, and I turned on YouTube to go watch that video, and then I saw that this story was live, and I thought, "This is clickbait, it can't be for real." But it was for real, it's true. Yeah, maybe the other 3 families wanted the plea deal, Peekaboo is saying. Yeah, we'll find out soon, hopefully, from those other families. Man, I can't even imagine. And Ethan Chafin was a triplet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's so heartbreaking. Yeah. The real Gigi says, like, the killer's target was not Consalva's daughter or her friend. It was Maddie. They say, according to Dateline, they think it was Maddie. So maybe we'll find out. Yeah. Um, Kat says the DP was never a sure thing, even with a guilty jury verdict. Yeah. Yeah. Dolly says hopefully he'll lose access to his vegetarian. Does he really have vegetarian diet privileges? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. The real Gigi says yes, Ethan was a triplet. Yep. Carol says could be the families could want it put to bed immediately. Hopefully he gets life in prison without parole. Well, according to that first article, it was saying, here, let me delete. According to that first article, they mentioned what that plea was. I think I picked the different article. What did I do? Well, they had said it was like 4 consecutive life sentences with no oh, here we go. Must agree to spend the rest of his life in prison. The other article says 4 consecutive life sentences. Dolly. Oh, he gets Oscar Mayer sandwiches every day. Oh, thank you. I didn't even realize I was breaking the story. I just literally I mean, I didn't break it, okay? Like, I don't wanna take credit for that. It just serendipitously, I turned on the TV and I turned on YouTube and there it was. So, Fox is reporting it right now, Lisa says, yeah. Hideout Law says, "I texted 3 people and they still hadn't heard. 2 of my texts, the individuals work in the court system." Wow. Well, I'm glad I was able to be able to bring it to you all, and I'm glad you're all here to have a conversation with me. Kelly says prosecutors only offer plea deals. No wonder they feel betrayed. So I guess, and if you read between the lines of that other article, it was the ABC News one. Here it is. It does seem like it does seem more like they sent a letters. They said in the letters. It's not like they asked in the letters. They said in the letters that the state was approached by the defense team. Man, yeah. Um, the real Gigi says, "You are very humble. You do great." Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Angela says, "Hopefully it's green bologna." People broke it at 6:49. And these articles, I mean, if you look, they came out 30 minutes ago, 15 minutes. Well, yeah, some of them 5 minutes, 15 minutes ago, 41 minutes ago. Idaho's been having a rough time between Lori Vallow and Bryan Kohberger, and then what happened yesterday to those firemen. It's terrible. Lisa says it would be 4 consecutive. So after he dies, he has 3 more sentences to go. Yep, yep. The defense requested the deal. Kat says. Steve says, "Prisoners really hate cereal." Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if they would keep him um, separate from the general population. I mean, he's been in prison this whole time, so I wonder how they're housing him there. And he must have chosen that over the potential of the death penalty. Yes, exactly, Lisa. That's another thing I was thinking too. They were saying that the trial would last through November potentially. And and then on top of that, I'm sure he would be filing appeal after appeal after appeal. Yeah. Kat, I don't think you can change your mind. If you take the plea deal with no death penalty, can you change it if you change your mind? I don't think so, but if anyone knows, please drop it in the the comments. Dolly says mortadella and oh, you are all so funny. Oh my goodness. Carol says, "I think the families are upset due to not being consulted." Yeah, yeah. It seems this happens a lot though, right? Usually whenever you hear of pleas being accepted, the families are not often consulted. Hide Out Loud says, "No shade. I love Emily Baker, but you beat her." It was just a stroke of luck. Hide Out Loud. That's all I could say. He's been in jail, not prison. Kat says. Okay, I'm not sure I know the difference. Sorry. Carol says it takes roughly 10 years to go through appeals. Lisa says he wouldn't be in prison right now. He's in jail. Oh, can you guys explain to me the difference? Sorry that I don't know. Um, that I don't know the difference. Yeah, Cat, the whole building was destroyed, they tore it down. I noticed that too. Yeah. His party's over, Dolly says. I didn't realize there's a difference really, um, between the 2. Yeah, let's see. Let's refresh the page, see if anything new comes up. Yeah, there's just, it's all the same stuff, it looks like. Yikes, you guys, yikes. Peekaboo says, "I think you can go back on your plea, but then the trial would have to go on and people would know he took a plea first." Oh, in prison, you're guilty. Okay. Zephyr says, "Prison is the big boy house, jail is county, a bit more of a cakewalk." Interesting. I had no idea. I had no idea about that. Lisa says he will have no right to appeal with this plea. Yeah, and honestly, he shouldn't. Like, no, there shouldn't be any opportunity for him to walk this back, right? Like the family has been through a terrible time and a roller coaster, and they don't need this looming over their head, wondering, is Bryan Kohberger going to wake up one day and say, "I changed my mind"? Um, Hi, sunflowers. So, Joy, I think I can't remember why. I think they collected all the evidence they could. Why don't we do a Google search? The house was 1122 King Road. Why demolished? Let's see. And let me share my screen so you all can see. Okay, it says, it was demolished primarily because it served as a constant painful reminder of the tragic murders of 4 the University of Idaho students. The university decided to demolish the house after receiving the property from the owner, aiming to facilitate healing within the community and remove a grim reminder of the crime. Yeah. So I guess the homeowner turned it over to the university. Yeah, it says the university stated demolishing the house was a step towards healing for the community. I mean, can you imagine walking or driving by that house? Um, Family concerns. While the university emphasized healing, some family members of the victims expressed concerns about the demolition, particularly before a trial date was set. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what this article says. Um, it's a daily reminder of what happened here. The executive director of communications for the University of Idaho said removing the house is helpful for the healing process. It will be turned back to green space for the moment, and then decisions can be made down the line what to do with the ground. So the university's art, that's interesting that the university's art and architecture program are working on concepts. That's a good way. That's another way to heal, right? Having the university itself involved in the design, maybe to honor the victims. Yeah. It was demolished during winter break, so it doesn't disrupt the students who live there. Let's see. FBI accessed the King Road house to gather more data in late October and early November. Scans taken of the property could help the FBI create visuals that could be used in the trial. The defense team representing Kohberger will be getting 2 days to access the house to help prepare for the case. Yeah, there it is. Let's see. How behind am I in the chat? Um, Once the plea has been approved, they will transport him to prison. Kat says jail is for short-term confinement, prison is for long-term confinement. Okay, Dolly says you're still treated as innocent in jail. Jail is for people awaiting trials. You have all taught me so much today. Um, oh, but TM says that they've heard county jail is much worse than prison. Yeah, the parents were not happy, Kat says. Carol says they did that in Ariel Castro, who held those 3 women hostages. Oh my gosh, that was such a horrible case too. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Lisa says that's what happened with the Nicole Brown Simpson house. It was torn down and the city changed the residential address. I mean, look, like right off the top of my head, I knew 1122 King Road. I knew the address memorized. You know who else's address I know memorized? Um, oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? From the Karen Reed trace, Brian Albert. I forgot it actually, but I had known that address too because when we were live streaming that trial, we were doing Google searches and looking up the Zillow information. Yeah. Thanks for being here, Jonana. Yes, Wendy. So it seems that the parents, let me see if I can pull it up again. It seems that the parents were pretty much told about the plea deal and not really asked. So um, it says here, they said in the letter to the families that the state was approached last week by Kohberger's defense team. And yeah, it seems like they didn't have maybe much say. Kelly says, if the judge accepts, it's rare to change it. Yeah. Oh, Wendy, also, I should mention that one of the victims' families, Kaylee Consalves's families, released a statement on their Facebook page. And why don't I go back to that one? What did I say? Victim families. And here, they released a statement and they said, it's true. We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected. We appreciate all your love and support. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wendy says, so he avoided the death penalty. So he values life. What a piece of garbage. Very well said. Yeah. Carol says they also demolished John Wayne Gacy's house. Yikes, I didn't know that. Oh, thank you, Steve. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 34. Oh, Lisa, I think Lisa was giving me the address of Brian Albert's home. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. I think I'm just in so much shock over this Brian Kohberger thing. Yeah. Kelly says they took walls and flooring out of the house, furniture. Oh, so to preserve evidence if needed. Um, TM says people will plead guilty sometimes to get out of county jail and just go to prison. Yeah. Yeah, so you guys, I want to share something with you. I haven't been doing a lot of lives lately. I don't know if you can tell my voice is kind of um it goes in and out, and I think when I talk a lot, you can see it gets kind of raspy. I have a pretty good idea of what's causing it, so I'm working on it. You know what I'll tell you? I think sometimes I eat too late at night and then I sleep, and I think I might be having acid reflux. So a couple of days ago, I started intermittent fasting and the keto diet, so I'm pretty sure things will heal up pretty soon. Um, so yeah, if you don't see me having live so much lately, that's the reason why. Um, so yeah, I'm sorry that I'm gonna close this out a little bit early. I know we met for a little bit, a little under an hour, but I want to thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. Um, Oh, Abertal, I haven't chatted with you in forever. And I'm about to end the live. Thank you for being here, Abertal. I'll try to schedule some lives this week. It seems if they're gonna have that hearing on July 2nd, I'll see if I can figure out what time it is and try to live stream that as well. So everybody, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.